What's up everyone, Vu of Envu Films back with another video, and today I'm going to talk about how I made a little bit over 20 bucks triggering a bunch of Panasonic fanboys my last YouTube video. And I'm currently recording this video using the new Comica VM30 wireless mic, wireless shotgun mic. As you can see, the shotgun is just hanging out all by itself. There's nothing attached to it, no wires, because the shotgun mic itself is a transmitter, and you could either use it wired directly onto your camera using the shock mounts and all that stuff, or you could use it completely wireless with the receiver attached to your camera or your audio recorder or what have you. And I think this is amazing. It is very versatile, and I highly recommend it. It's not the first time I'm using it, and sound quality, in my opinion, is amazing. And if my sound quality sounds bad, it's because I'm probably either too close to it, I'm talking too loud, I didn't set my audio levels properly. So that is on my douchebag ass and not the mic itself. So yeah, if you're interested, links in the description below. So the other day I made that video about the Panasonic S5IIX, and dudes got really triggered. But that video had a lot of pretty decent views, all in all, and I made so far about $20 in ad revenue. So hey, that's 2 large bowls of pho in my area. Number 1, large, no tripe, because the stuff is disgusting. But you know, it's funny because I just kind of randomly made that video. I had set up my tripod, my camera, my audio to film a completely different video. I get a text message from my wife telling me she has an appointment she has to go to, and she will need help with my son. So I said, oh crap, I spent all this time setting this up, I might as well make a video. So whatever, first thing that came to mind was Panasonic S5IIX, because I'm a Sony fanboy douchebag, and I was doing a bunch of Sony ZV-E1 reviews. I'm not affiliated with Sony, I'm not ambassador for Sony, I don't go to camera camp and all that shit. I bought that ZV-E1 for my own use with my own money. And yeah, I was pretty triggered that I kept getting these comments from Panasonic douchebag fanboys about how I should have gotten a Panasonic S5IIX instead of the ZV-E1. ZV-E1 was trash. And I had other comments about, you know, the Panasonic S5IIX is the best camera on the planet. It is $2,200 ARRI, way better than FX3, A7S3. And I was like, wow, this is complete bullshit. And I just decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to say something about it on my channel. I'm putting myself out there because I'm not a coward. You know, if I have an opinion, I'm going to say it. And if people want to say something to me, I'm ready for it, you know. Unlike a lot of commenters who comment and then disappear, don't even have work to show on a YouTube, or don't, you know, show their work anywhere, because again, they're cowards and they're afraid to show their work because they're afraid to hear criticism, which means they'll probably never improve if they don't receive their criticism and try to improve themselves. So they're just stuck in their lowly little rut for the rest of their life, and that's on them and their parents, not on me. So I have no problems with the Panasonic S5IIX. You know, I've said in multiple videos before that particular video that the Panasonic S5IIX is a fantastic camera, and that if anyone came up to me and they're a new videographer and they said, hey, I want to buy an S5IIX, I would tell them, go ahead, man, have at it. You know, has phase detect autofocus, even though it does not know how to tell an eye from an elbow. So there's some issues there, but overall, fantastic camera. Has a bunch of codecs, have all kinds of stuff, you know. In some instances, it is certainly, you know, better than the FX3 or Sony A7S3, but I'm gonna just keep saying FX3 because it's easier. But you know, when I say FX3, I mean the 12 megapixel sensor cameras. A7S3, FX3, ZVE1. Okay, you're filming primarily TikToks of stuff, and you want to do that vertical things, and then you also want to post things on YouTube landscape, and you're not worried about doing any slow motion type stuff. Yeah, you could shoot open gate and on the Panasonic, and then get all different types of reframing action. That's fantastic. If that's what you're doing all the time, yeah, Panasonic is way better. I think anything else though, everything else, FX3 is better. Okay, you want to do interviews and stuff like that, it's a wash. And but if you want to do slow motion, you want to shoot B-rolls, you want the most reliable autofocus, you want the best low light, you use the FX3. All right. Some will argue about image quality. Panasonic S5IIX is sharper because of the 6K whatever instead of the 12 megapixel. You're dumb. Image quality is not all about sharpness. Ask anyone in Hollywood, which is the top of what we do, right? Ask documentary filmmakers, right? Top of the top of what we do. It's not all about sharpness. That's why there's a huge difference between quote-unquote sharpness of the Batman movie, which was fantastically shot, and a reality TV show, or some random show on television. They're all shot with very high-end cameras, very expensive cameras, but the Batman looks better because it has that look, and that look doesn't include crazy sharpness. That's why people put diffusion filters and other types of filters in front of their lenses so that it doesn't look as sharp. Image quality is not all about sharpness, and you can see that in this issue I found with Panasonic S5IIX while I was trying to educate myself, because unlike some douchebags, when I read these comments, I carefully analyze it, and then I actually go do some more research. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a biased Sony D-bag. I need to look into this Panasonic S5IIX a little bit more. And when doing so, I found that the Panasonic S5IIX has an issue with aliasing, or MOIRE, which is this nasty colored looking waves and bands of trash on your image when you're filming textures. And the Panasonic S5IIX does not have anti-aliasing filter in it, so when you're filming things like that, it looks like trash. That is a no-go for me, okay? And I don't have any issues with that with my FX3. I don't know if it has anti-aliasing filter or not, but I do know that it's only a 12 megapixel sensor, and the 4K readout is straight up 4K. It's not pixel bin, it's not downsampled, so maybe that's how it's avoiding all of that aliasing crap. But because it's closer to a true 4K sensor than the S5IIX, that is probably why I don't have that issue with FX3, A7S3, or it does have aliasing filter in it. I don't know. But there's just little things like that to me makes better image quality. We love sharpness. G Master lenses are, arguably the sharpest lenses you can buy, pretty much. I put filters on them, it's kind of embarrassing because I have all these sharp ass glass, and I'm sitting there putting mist filters on them to soften them up a little bit. It just looks better, and everyone was talking about 6K. I don't know of any, person I film for social media, especially females. I do a lot of these corporate things, corporate social media and stuff, and none of them ever wanted their footage to be sharper. They always prefer to not have all the details of their face, on someone's phone. And as much as we want to talk about 6K and all this stuff, you know, all these social media outlets, you know, Instagram, TikTok and all that stuff, I think they max out at 1080p or something. It might even 720p. I don't even know. So all those benefits that you're talking about with 6K and cropping in, it's kind of gone. It's not as, it doesn't exist, you know. So there's a lot of things to consider. But again, when it comes to filmmaking gear, cameras, every camera these days is fantastic. And then when it comes down to it, the one that's better for you, there's a lot of nuances. You know, FX3 obviously works the best for me. Sony ZV-E1 obviously works the best for me right now. Filming with the ZV-E1 right now, in my car, there's no, you know, breeze in here. It hasn't overheated. It never has so far. And I use it to take with me for fishing, which is what I have doing right now. So I hear all those rattles. I got fishing poles in my car. I'm going fishing and I'm going to film some stuff for my fishing channel. It's just so much easier to take such a small, compact camera and not have to worry about this big bulkiness. You know, I tell you right now, if I had a, you know, Panasonic S5IIX, I'd probably be like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to just stick with my GoPro. Like, I just don't feel like taking big ass cameras when I only have like 2 hours to go fishing and I'm just trying to spend the most of it fishing. But of course, it makes it easier for me to make content with my fishing if the camera is smaller, lighter, and easier to just manage and use to film myself. ZV-1 checks all those boxes. And for those of you who say ZV-1 is not worth $2,200, it is absolutely worth $2,200. You know, if anything, people might want to say the Panasonic S5IIX is not worth $2,200. It is worth more than $2,200. You know, with all the codecs and stuff it has. That's why everyone is talking about how great of a value it is. So, you know, I said I'm going fishing. Camera bodies and stuff is just like fishing. You know, you ever wonder why some fishermen have like 18 different rods? Because there's a rod for every situation, you know? And, you know, would someone go up to a fisherman and say, dude, you bought that small, light action rod? You know, you wasted your money. For $200, you could have gotten like a heavy setup, got the big rod, and you know, it's so much stronger. Those of you who fish know there's a massive difference between big, heavy rods and light rods, and all because one rod is stronger than the other and one rod won't break is not better. And all because it's a lighter rod doesn't mean it shouldn't be cheaper. A lot of times that lighter rod is made out of carbon fiber stuff. It has better sensitivity to detect the bite of the fish. You know, better action for your lures. There's like so much nuance that goes into just everything in life. Cameras, fishing, camera gear, fishing rods, camera lenses, camera bodies. There's so much nuance when it comes to, you know, which one is best for you. And I don't think and most of the time, what makes one camera better or more expensive or whatever than the other is very subtle. It is very small, subtle things, and sometimes it's not, you know, subtle things. The subtle things that make the FX3 just a better camera, in my opinion, overall, than the S5IIX is, you know, that little bit more dynamic range. You know, the fact that 4K looks a lot more pleasing than sharp AF footage. The fact that it could do 4K 60p, 4K 120p full frame. And, you know, I know the 120p is 1.1 times crop, which is really negligible when it comes to, you know, affecting your focal length. You know, if you shoot in a 50 millimeter, that 120p 1.1 crop still generally looks like 50 millimeter. You know, you're talking about, you know, the difference so slight that it is almost, you know, pretty much a difference between manufacturers. You know, when you have like a 50 mil from one manufacturer with a 50 mil from another manufacturer, one might be wider or tighter than the other. That is literally what that 1.1 crop looks like. You know, there's not that much of a difference between, you know, there's not that much of an effect at 1.1 crop. So yeah, it's basically full frame. Every mode has 10-bit 422, and 422 is very important for dudes who are hardcore color graders, you know. And I think Panasonic S5IIX, you know, is only 420 in some of those like 6K modes or 4K 60 modes, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these little subtle differences is what makes a difference, you know, between prices and stuff like that. Same through his lenses, you know. Well, you know, what makes, you know, one 4K one lens more expensive than another when they're the same focal length and all that stuff. It's just subtle differences. Anyways, guys, I'm at my fishing spot now. I'm gonna park the car, and that is it for that video. I hope that cleared up things for you. Yeah, I made money off of these Panasonic Fanboys. Made solid $20 off that 15-minute YouTube video, but you know, I'm just taking a book out of Sony, you know, because Sony's making money off of Panasonic, because the Panasonic S5IIX uses a Sony sensor. So some of that $2,200 that you're spending on your Panasonic S5 Mark II and Mark IIX is just kind of just some of it's going to Sony, so Sony could do more R&D on their next camera that you're going to eventually switch to. So until next time, lighten up.
Hey man, that light so tiny.
Yeah, this is a Godox Lightman's LC30 buy. I'm really trying to lighten up the load when I'm filming weddings.
Oh my god, that unprofessional. If you want to be the best, if you want to be professional, you need to use aperture LS60X.
I'm an old piece of trash. I'm not trying to blow out my back carrying heavy ass lights everywhere.
No man, your thread is high quality, not heavy.
I used those lights for 2 years. They're great, but they're bulky and heavy.
Let me show you. Hello, man.
Bro, you alright? Sound like you just blew out your back and applied an earthy coffee-stained LUT to your drawers. I'm gonna have to visit a chiropractor.
No man, I think I need to go B&H get massage.
Damn, I didn't know B&H Photo does massages.
No man, I go butt and whole fur and massage. Full body with happy ending. Only $29.99.